doing this next week. And you you can let me know if I was wrong or right. Okay, so basically looking at uh, a past paper, so a 2020 May-June paper. Um, and so going from the start through to where we get today. Um, but also what I've thought is as we go along, nearly to look at the important nearly phrases or things in the questions that need to give you guidance to what you need to calculate. So the first question that we're looking at, they ask us the amount of money you have to invest. Okay, so let's get out my at a simple interest rate. So there you already know that you're working with simple interest. They give you a rate of return. They tell you the interest it needs to get, and then the other thing they tell you after how many years. Okay, so if you just look at the options, if you need to get that interest, the the money that you would need to invest must be actually bigger than that interest. Because if you're investing it for just 3 years, it's different if it is for 25 or 30 years. But if you're investing something for 3 years, you need to get that interest. The amount that you need to basically invest at the beginning needs to be bigger than that. It can't be smaller and you're getting that massive interest. So I would nearly already have cancelled out two of the options. Then myself would look at these and I'm like, those two are probably way too nice numbers. So if I'm really need to guess, I would probably go for option 5. But let's still work it out. Um, and you would have seen in your assignments and things like that, to get a perfect number, that seldoms happen. Um, but let's work it out. So you've got from what is it, chapter 2, because chapter 1 is just the intro. From chapter 1, you've got your formula that tells you that the interest part, if you want to work that out, what you need to do. But we have the interest, we want to work out what was the amount that you invested. So we just need to change the formula a bit, and then we have everything that is needed to put in this formula. So we have the interest that was earned, 5250. We had, still don't know why my computer is doing this every time, but we will validate, work that out. Okay, so then the rate that we have is 15%, and we times it with the time period T. So let's see, interest rate is per annum, and after 3 years, so we just times it by 3. Okay, so if you then calculate that, you get the amount of 11,666.67. Okay, which is option 5. Okay, so just to recap, um, if this is the interest that you earn in such a short period, the amount that you need to put away will always be bigger than the interest earned. So you could have cancelled those two options out. Then when I look at these, and you would have seen it in all your assignments nearly, we seldom get these nice rounded numbers. So if I didn't have a clue how to work this out, or I was time pressured, I probably would have guessed option 5 in any case. But then we go to the simple interest formula, where we then just change it to the interest, the amount that we need to work with, and then we have all the other information so that we can calculate this. Okay, so that is a question on simple interest. And again, you will get something like this because in the exam they need to cover all the things that you have done. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So you've got your simple interest. So the next one is probably simple discount. So here they talk about it. The bank's simple discount rate is 12% per annum. You need to pay the bank 5,000 in 6 months' time. The amount of money that you will receive from the bank now is. Okay, so again, if you look at these options, which ones would you say can't be one of the options?
Four and five.
Okay, 4 and 5, because your value needs to be smaller than 5,000. Okay, so you can't have 4 or 5. Okay, so again, just something to look out for. Then I would have probably not gone for 1. I would have picked between 2 and 3. Just again, that seems way too nice, but I might be wrong. So let's just see if the formula that we're using. Okay, so we're looking at the value that we need to calculate. S is the amount that they have given us, and then we subtract the discount component. Just check also, please, if I'm using the right formulas, but I think also let's just mark all the formulas for you. I'll still check if I can get a formula page that is easy. I have it somewhere that I can share with you, and I will probably share it on the WhatsApp group. So again, let me just add my number in the chat for people that will maybe watch this later. 0837908387. Also, Caroline and Stephanie, if you can just complete the attendance form, it will be great. But at least I see there was some students here. Okay, so then we can just look at what we need to complete. 5,000. 1 minus, let's see what the discount rate was 12% per annum, 0.12. And then if we have it, you need to pay the bank 5,000 in 6 months' time. You know that 6 months' time is 6/12 or 1/2. If I work out that amount, I actually get a very nice rounded number, 4,700, which is option 1. Okay, is that how you would have done it as well? Okay, so I would have, if I wanted to guess it, I would have been wrong, because I would have gone for one of the not so nice looking numbers. So, okay, there is some that is actually quite clean. Okay, so they tell us simple discount, use the formula, and this time they ask us to work out the P. If we needed to work out the S, it would have been again just moving this part of the formula divided so that you can work out the S if it was needed. Okay, so let's see what is in question 3. Jacob invest an amount in an account that pays simple interest. Okay, strange that there are simple interest twice in a paper, but that's fine. After 6 years, the amount that he receives accumulated to that. The simple interest rate on the investment. Oh, okay, so they want interest rate, so that makes it a bit more difficult. So again, let's look at what is your formula. So this is your simple interest formula. They give us that, they give us that, they give us the T, so you need to work out the R. Okay, so something different than what the other interest question was. So let me move it in there so that you can just, even though it was question 3, that it has a nicer flow. Okay, so we know that the final amount was, the accumulated amount was 12,859. We know that the beginning amount was 8,350. So before we now write it out in this way, let's rather change this formula so that we can see what so it's going to be S minus P on this side. On this side, we've got 1 plus RT. So we're going to subtract with, okay, sorry. The P I need to divide. Nearly did something wrong there. Okay, so because I need to divide both sides with P, that is what we're going to do. We're then going to bring the -1 to this side, so it disappears on that side. Then that answer we're going to divide by t. Okay, so that answer we're going to divide by t so that we just sit with r. Okay, so we've got s, which is that, divide by p, then let's minus 1. When we get that, we divide that answer by whatever t is. So let's first do that. So 12,859 divided by 8350 gives you 1.54. 1.54 minus 1 gives you 0.54. Okay, and then let's see what we need to divide by. Simple interest, let's just see, after 6 years, so it seems like n is equal to 6. Let's just see, or t is equal to 6. Interesting, they don't tell us what the if it is monthly, yearly, so we just assume that this answer is a yearly number, so it's 9%. Okay, option 4. So we assume that it is a per year number. If it was quarterly or monthly, what you will then see is that they would, in the answer, maybe say per month, and then this you need to just change in the formula as well. So what I would do, and I didn't do it now, is I would probably, when I'm at this stage, also look at what the answers is. I thought it would have just been percentage, but because they say per year, you nearly automatically then interpret that your T will be 6 and not 12 if it is twice a year, or times 12 when it is monthly. Okay, so first look at your answer set to see what percentage per year or per month or what they want in the answer, but then still use the same calculation, and we got 9% per year. Okay, are you happy with that? Does it make sense?
Yes, I'm happy with that.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that nearly covers the first part of simple interest, simple discount. You will get it in the exam. It is. Let me just post the attendance register. And hopefully you can click on it and it doesn't take you to a website that you can't enter. If not, then it's also fine. Don't worry. Then we'll make a plan. Okay, so then the next set of questions will most likely be around compound interest. So it's not always like this in your exam. How was your, let me just, before I say this now, how was your assignments, and did you have a mock exam and those kind of things? Could you download the paper and then work with it, or was it like stats that you complete one question, when you move to the next one, you can't go back? How was your paper or your assignments and your mock exam? Was it which way around?
The mock exam was one where you could answer the question, go forward, and then you couldn't go back.
Okay.
The assignments you could move around.
And how did they tell you how the exam will be or not yet?
It's going to be open book, and it's going to be the same as the mock exam.
Okay. Okay, so if it is the same in the mock exam that you can't go back, then it's normally they follow the path of your study guide. So chapter 2 first, then chapter 3, then chapter 4, because then they don't jump around between the chapters. So that is also why this paper, I think, was like that, because previous papers would start maybe with even annuity or amortization and things like that. But if it is straight through, they normally start with the beginning and work through. Yeah, it's weird. Some of the papers you're allowed to download DSC 1520, they could download and work through, and BNU you can download, but then there's others you can't. So it's very interesting how different the papers on. It's all in the same nearly faculty, so it's weird. Okay, so then most likely the next set is going to be around compound interest, but let's also look at the words in the question. So accumulated amount will receive after first deposit into account where money is worth compounded every 2 months. Okay, so there they give you the trigger to what is needed. So this one compounded every 2 months. So again, we have the formula, but I'm just writing it down as I never really want to use formulas unless it's simple interest. Then I use the calculator for the rest of the things. But if you want to use the formula, let's just see what is in here. So the accumulated amount that Marble will receive after 58 months if she deposits. So we will need to work out the future value. She deposits 13,300. Let's think of that as a 0. And then they tell us it is 11.5%, 11.35% per year, but it is compounded every 2 months. Every 2 months means that it happens 6 times a year. And then if she receives it after 58 months or 50, yeah. So again, here is the catch. So very easy to say after 38 months, but remember it is 58 divided by 2 because it happens every second month. Okay, so they didn't tell you that you're getting it for 58 payments or things like that. They're telling you receive it after 38 months. So 38 months, if it's every second month, is basically then 19. Okay, because it's for 38 divided by 2. But I would, on my HP, what I would do is, let me just put it on. So it is 6 times per year. It is 13,300 will be my present value, 11.35%. My N will be 19, and then my future value will be, if I calculate it, let's hope there's an answer, 18988.31. Okay, let's quickly see. Okay, option 5. You can also use the method on the calculator. You will get the same answer. So again, whichever you're most comfortable with, you can use that. So again, please, there's no right or wrong, or if you like to use the formula, please do so. I think it's important that whichever way you want to do it, yeah. So the formula also give you that same amount. Okay, so again, please, if you like to use the formula, use it. If you like to use a calculator, do it with a calculator. If you like to use Excel, use Excel. There's really no problem in all three of them. Again, I think you will probably write with what is it, Iris, or one of the invigilator apps that is on. So what that mainly is tracking is people, so that they know it's you that is writing the exam. So again, when you switch on that app, please, you should be in a more, or how do we put it, that there's not a lot of people in the background. So if you're doing at work or someplace else, just be careful for nearly the background movements and things like that. Okay, so let's look at question 5. So here they say Saki borrowed an amount of money from Lulu. The loan will be paid back by means of payments of 25,000 Rand. So we know that we nearly have a PMT here. Every second month for 6 years, an interest rate of 7.75 per year compounded every second month will be applicable. The present value of the loan is, okay, so we're looking for present value. We have a PMT of minus 25,000, or okay, just because we put minus 25,000 in because we want a positive value. Let's look at interest rate. The year that we have is 7.75. You've got N equal to 6, but also remember we have it payments per year or premiums per year, or how many times a year it happens. So on some calculators it's P, some calculators it's X times per year. Again, it's 6 because it's every second month. Okay, so again, depending on which calculator you use, you can put in the values. So minus 25,000 as your PMT. Remember, if we worked with a previous one that we needed to get a future value. So if you haven't cleared the calculator, the other thing you can do is just say 0 future value, so that it just then automatically clears the future value for you. 6 times per year. We've got it for 4 years. 6 years, sorry. So it's actually 36 periods that we are looking at. Interest rate is 7.75, and then your present value will be 716,113.21. Like I said, I would have cancelled that one even out beforehand, because it looks just too good. So there is my option 3. Okay. Other thing that you can nearly look at. So if this is a monthly amount of 25,000, okay. So that is how so the 25,000 times the 36-month period gave you that. Interesting. Okay, but this is a loan that you need to pay back, so it will be nearly less than that 25 times 36. So that is a way also nearly to cancel some of the questions out, or some of the answers out. Okay, so let's quickly have a check-in up until now. The 5 questions that we went through, is that all okay?
It's all okay with me.
Stephanie, on your side?
I'm good, thank
Okay, cool. Okay, so we've done simple interest, done compound. Let's see what is the next one. Simple interest. So let me also move that one in there. So just for nearly getting it in a sequence for you guys. So on 16 April and Nkosi. Okay, so if you get something like that and something like that, we know nearly this is going to be one of those that we're saying is counting days. It's one of those that you will also get in the exam. Did they give you a type of exam prep or a pack of formulas or tables, or are you using it from the study guide?
We have got a formula sheet.
Okay. So in that will probably be then also a table for the counting days one. So
Yes, we have
that,
got the counting days one.
okay. So again, this is nearly one of those that will be in your paper. It is just it is there every year, every half year. So it is always in the paper, the counting days one. So it's one of those that just know how to do it. Okay, so let's see what they give us. So again, simple interest. And let's just write the formula down so that we can just see the other things that we need to get out of this. So we've got 1 plus RT. So they tell us we need to count the days to get to T. They tell us what the interest was. They give us intents to withdraw the balance of, okay, so they give us S. So again, not as straightforward. So we need to work out the P. So the P, if it's isolated, okay, so let's count the days. So if we look at our tables, 8 December, if I have it correct, is day 342. 16 April is 106. So if also somebody can just check that for me. So 342 minus 106. It's 236 divided by 365, which will give me my T. And you can, okay, so it's not a rounded number, so I would rather just then use that in that calculation when we get there. So then to work out B, it is 2599 divided by 1 plus, got the percentage, so or 0,085, or we can say 8.5%. Multiply the 236 divided by, and that is 365. Also just note, sometimes they can tell you in the question that a year is 360 days, maybe sometimes. So here they tell you it's not a leap year, so that you use 365. So they will nearly tell you in the question what is or how long the year is. If they don't tell you, you use 365. Okay, so if they don't tell you what the year is, use 365 as standard. Okay, and then if we work this out, you get that the value is 2463,60. Okay, sure. All these numbers are very close to one another. Okay. And all of them are smaller, so nothing that you could really have cancelled out beforehand. Yeah, sure. Actually very close to one another. So probably if you count that, if you're off by one day, you will probably get one of the others. I think it's as close as that. Because if you look at this, that small changes, so probably if you're off by 1 day, you will get one of the other numbers. Okay, so that is for counting days one with simple interest. You basically must just make sure that you use the right numbers in the table that you have to calculate that period that you are using. Okay, questions on this one? Happiness. Just want to see. So they could also do counting of days where they combine it. So just make sure that you guys can do that as well, where they sometimes can combine a simple and a compound interest one together. So for the first few days, and they give you the dates, they say something is compounded with simple interest, and then from a certain day, it moves over to compound. So what you will then do is, if it is that way, work out the simple interest period first, and then use that to work out with a compound period later. Okay, so if I've seen it in one paper, I haven't seen it a lot. So just if I ask something like that. Okay, question 7. A bicycle agreed to establish a spike fund from which they will pay until 2,500 per month indefinitely. Okay, so if we see that indefinitely, we nearly know that what we need to look at is this formula. So indefinitely means that we're looking to a perpetuity, if I nearly pronounced that correctly. So it is, again, if you look at retirement products or something like that, you get a retirement product that when you retire, it will pay you monthly income for your retirement that goes on until you die. So something like that is an indefinite or perpetuity that you can look at. So they tell us that the R is 2,500. They tell us that the interest is 12.5% per year compounded monthly. So let's do that. That is, but remember to divide by 12 because they say monthly. So if we do that, answer that I get is 240,000. Okay, so again, a very nicely rounded number. Option 3. Okay, let's see if we didn't divide by the 12, if there was an answer. No, because would have just been 20,000. Let me just check. Yeah, no. So at least if I just divided it by the 12.5%, I probably would have gotten 20,000, which is again not part of a option set. But yeah, this one, if you look at it, it is, and I think it was also part of chapter 3, with compound interest. It is just the one that basically pays out indefinitely. Okay. The only catch here is that compounded monthly. So just be on the lookout for this if they pay monthly, quarterly, or whatever, so that part is the one that will be impacted. Okay, cool. So that's a perpetuity from compound interest. So let's see what's the next one. Again, something that you will get is to change something to the effective rate. So again, I think important to note this one. It is a definite that you will get. There's certain ones that, so counting days is one that you will definitely get. We know that you will get simple interest and simple discount and compound, but the other one that will be in your exam is to change something into an effective rate. So just please note how to do that. So let's quickly see if when we need to change something into effective rate, and just make sure that I am also using I wonder if one can use the calculator for that. A furniture company charges a finance fee of 13% per week. So where is my... Okay, so you guys must now help me here if I actually do it correctly, because my calculator is saying something different. Okay, so it's 1. So let's just, there needs to be another. Okay. Okay, so what will your JM be?
%13%.
Okay. And your M?
52.
Okay, so 0.13 divided by 52 plus 1 Okay, so inside the bracket, let me just now. I have something like this. I still need to do a power of 52. Okay, where is that on a calculator? Okay, so I get 1.1386 minus 1 is 0.1386, and then if I multiply it by 100 for a percentage, I get 13.86. Okay, is that what you also got? Which will
Yes,
then
I
be,
also got that.
which will be option 4. It's interesting that I don't. Okay, with my calculator, I got 13.1. So let me just see where I made that mistake. Hmm. Phew. I'm between these two. Just because.
On the sharp calculator, there's a shortcut which I've used, and it comes to 13.864.
Okay. Okay, cool. I'm just worried about this. So I know we're changing it here, which is right. So I assume the calculator will also take that into account. So you with a shortcut in Sharp, did you need to put in the 52 somewhere in that calculation? My concern is the per week, but see this covers it. Huh.
On the shortcut, you put in your 52, XY, your interest rate, and then second F, and then an EFF button.
Okay. So yeah, my biggest concern is that this is normally a yearly interest, and when we change it with what the month is. Now they tell us it's per week, so must we adapt that to multiply it out for the year? So that's my. So when you guys have your session next week with a lecturer, maybe ask this one. Ugh, I'm now worried because I probably would have, now looking at it, changed it. And when I get that answer, hmm, because this JM that we're looking at, that's normally a interest rate per year. And this will be where we adapt it for the period that we're using. That for me is just now. So I would have probably done it different if I'm now thinking of it. So please ask the lecturer if she can, I think it's a she, if she can look at it for you guys next week in one of the sessions. Just ask her on this one, because now I'm thinking I probably would have been used that when you get a different answer, which is also part of your answer set. I think so. Let me quickly, if I use 6.76 divided by 52 plus 1 to the power of 52 minus 1 times 100. Then I get 6.99. Oh, I'm in two minds with this one. I probably would have now changed my option to option 2. So please, in your session next week that you have, please ask. This per week is throwing me to say, but I need to change that JM that I'm using into a yearly number. And by that, I need to multiply that by 52. And then I get 6.76% that I then will put in here. And then if I work it through, I will get option 2. Which might now sound more correct. Please ask if you guys are in that session in next week, because now I have convinced myself that this is the other one, which if I convinced any of you that it's the other one now as well or not. No, I thought it was going to be straightforward. I see that when we use the calculator as well, it sees when we put in 0.13%, it sees it as a yearly interest rate. We don't change on the shelf or the HP the interest rate when we work out if something is compounded monthly or quarterly. So I would probably have gone now the other route and then would have gotten 6.99 as my option. Hmm. Okay, so please, Caroline, Stephanie, if you are in next week's session with the lecturer, nearly ask about this. If you're allowed to ask questions, and if she's not just going through other exam papers. Because I am probably now in two minds and probably would rather want to do that.
Okay.
It's too early on a Saturday to think of this now. I will also check this out for myself. I will just, this per week is just throwing me. So I probably would have changed it into year, but let me just go and check a bit the effective rates and those kind of things. If it is in a format of that it needs to be yearly, because that will then we need to change it. So let me just go and check again some of the documents that I have. Okay, the next question. So again, nearly compounded continuously. So again, I don't think your calculator can do this, so you need to use the formula. So the formula is that your future value is your present value times e to the power of ct. Let's just see what values do we have. Okay, so again, we want to work out what the initial amount is. Okay, so it seems like a lot of these that we've done so far, we're actually, in the formulas, we need to do divisions. So it's the 38,279.20. Let's just check. Amount borrowed at 29% interest per year. That sounds like your retailers will nearly ask that. For your personal loans is around those, compounded continuously for 4 years. So we've got the C, we've got the value that we need to multiply with is 4. They didn't say monthly or anything like that. 0.29 times 4 is 1,16. So e to the power of 1,16 is, let's just write this. To divided by, so when I calculated that, I get 3,1899. So 58,279 divided by that would give me 12,000 and 0.000. So it gives me then the 12,000. Again, a very nice rounded number, which I would probably not have looked at. But yeah, so that is how we would work this out. Okay, so again, compounded continuously. There's not that we can't use the future value, present value functions on your calculator. You need to use the formula for that. But then it is more straightforward. But again, strangely, as in the others, we actually need to work out P, and not the future value. We need to work out the present value. Okay. Yes.
Sorry to bother. I'm on basic numeracy, so we have a similar. I'm not familiar with your formulas, so do I just use the formulas that we use?
Yes, because there is there is this formula, sorry, can also be probably the S&P is normally standard. This could also look something like RT. There can be a I and a T. We can change the T into an N as well. So what was your formula that with the conventions that you would have used?
We have the N and the I and B, R and S.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so for interest rate, there's there's the R, there's the I, there's the C that is used. So dependent on which study guide, and it's also different. I've seen between the different modules within decision sciences as well. And then normally the two for the terms are T or N. I haven't really seen anything else that has been used, but um, please use your formula that you are used to. Because yeah, I think I've now seen decision DSC 1520, 1620, BNU and QMI. These formulas are nearly all different, which is confusing as well. And when you look at some of the textbooks, and that is also when they sometimes use something different. So yeah, please stick to the formula that you know and you use, please.
Thank you.
Now it's interesting when I looked at BNU and QMI, looking at the same information, and I've now looked at, where is it, 1630 QMI BNU. When we look at amortization, they use the same example in all three books, but in all three books the formulas differ slightly. But it's just signage, so it's in the end it does the same thing, but it does become confusing when the formulas, some of the smaller signage is different. Cool. Okay, so let's go into the next one. Um, so let's just see what we need to do. Jack will need 20,000 to buy us a car. he wants to start saving part of his weekly salary in an account that returns interest compounded weekly. So at least we know that there's something that the minimum weekly balance make into this investment account to make enough in 2 years' time. Okay, so there's a few things in here, but basically what it is saying is that he's going to invest an amount for a period of time. So, and you nearly want to, or he needs, sorry, the other way around. He needs to have amount in a certain period. He needs to put money away to get to that. So he is basically, in a sense, looking at making a monthly contribution into an account, or in this instance, weekly contribution again, into an account that he can basically add to after 2 years use that. So we're looking at the future value of annuity. So we know you need the 20,000. So that was your future value. Is the 20,000. They tell us weekly. So again, this is Stephanie, to your point, on my calculator, that is periods per year. On, I know some of the other calculators, it's X time per year. So just on calculators also, not using the same thing. So that is 52 because it is weekly. The other thing, there's the interest rate of 9.3. Interest per year is 9.3. Percent, or just 9.3. So it already says that. What am I forgetting? Then we just need to say for the 2 years, and then PMT. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So on my calculator, 52 times a year, interest is 9.3. The future value is 20,000. I just always then would say 0 present value, just to make sure that, or you can just clear all before you start, for 2 years, and then my PMT, what I get is 175.1486, so I will round it off to 175 rand and 15 cents. Okay, which is option 1. Phew, that sounds okay, but it's weekly. Okay, so interesting. Let's quickly, I just want to check if we did not say per week. I just want to check if there's also an answer for you. So if we used it as monthly, then you would have gotten close to the 7 DSC1630 Exam. If it is just yearly, we will not even get close to a number. So just make 100% sure with this one that that weekly payment is very important. Okay, and that weekly payment is where the 52 comes in, so that our final amount then is 175 Rand 15 cents that he will put into a savings account on a weekly basis. Okay, so that is nearly a future value of annuity that we're working with. We, again, easiest way to do that is with a calculator. Then the next question is probably something where they didn't specify when on the period this is, so you will also get one that is, well, okay, becoming a chef. So I just want to check if it's this one. Poppy Dreams of being a chef. Okay. So you will get one of these that is the beginning of a period. So like counting of days, the perpetuity, the continuous, you will also get an annuity that you need to remember will be at the beginning of a period. So the only difference when we do between a normal one and the beginning is that you need to change on your calculator. There is a function that you need to change to BGN, I think. Just quickly see. On the sharp, it is BGN, and on the HP, it is BEG. So just to nearly reference, you can see it means begin. Very important, after you've calculated any question with begin, to change it back. I know with HP, I think you can't just clear all, you actually need to change it back by pressing the begin again. Sharp, I'm not 100% sure if there you can just say clear all, or if you need to change it back to begin. But I think it's just important. So when you get the begin question, remember afterwards just to nearly put the calculator back into what method you used before that. Okay, so let's look at it. Poppy dreams of becoming a chef. She has a fund of 40,000 available to cover expenses of chef school over the next 4 years. She withdraws the same amount from the fund at the beginning of each month to pay for the chef course if the interest rate is 7.4%. So that's your interest rate, compounded, just compounded monthly. So remember, there's the period per year is 12. Will be for 4 years. So let me just, N will be equal to 4. You have a present value of 40,000. You have that present value of 40,000. again, you're going to work out PMT. So what I would just add is, I would just add that my future value is in the end going to be 0 as well, just so that it doesn't remember any of the previous work. So first change it to begin, then 7.4 interest per year, 12 times a year. It is for 4 years, so it is for 48 periods. The present value is equal to minus 40,000. Your future value is 0, and then your PMT, if I then work it out correctly, is 959.37. Let's just check if it is 959.37. Again, number very close to that. Let's see if we did not say begin, what you would have gotten, just so that, just want to check if there would have been an answer for you as well. So if you did not use the begin, that would have been option 4 would have been your answer. So if you didn't go with the beginning, in your calculator, you would then have gotten 365.29, which would have been an option for you then to pick. Okay, so very important to change for this question your calculator to begin. Just remember afterwards to change it back again, because you will probably only get one question on begin. You're not going to get 2 or 3 questions on it. And most likely after this one, you will get another annuity. And then sometimes what they will also do is when you get the question after this, that's another annuity, one of the answers will probably also include the one if you used, still used the begin, or if it was still activated. Okay, so just in the exam, make very sure with this question that you use the begin function, and afterwards that you just clear it again, that it's not there for the next one. Okay, let's just get a quick check-in up until now. Um, anything that you think was, except that one, that was really, that I'm still in doubt with, how was the rest of the questions was for you?
They were all fine, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so it's still, if you look at it, everything that we've done now up until question 11, it's actually still chapter 2, 3, and 4, I think. So it's not the sinking funds yet. It's not the ones in the end that is really difficult, or sometimes that one thinks it's very difficult. So up until now, it was actually not too bad. The thing that I think that is in all of these previous ones, there is, and let's just quickly, there's certain small things. So the interest rate was fine. This one was also not too bad. The simple interest for counting days, it's just important there. So there's nothing to catch out in that one. important here is the 6 months and the per annum, so that we need to know that. Again, the important one here was the 38 months that they give you, but actually we need to still remember to divide by 2. So there's, in a lot of these, it's in a sense, I can say it's straightforward, but there's one or two small catches in it that you also just need to be aware of. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Peter borrows 50,000 from a bank and he will repay the loan by means of monthly payment. So, okay, so that is basically, if you look at it, anything that we nearly have um, a type of home loan or personal loan or car loan or anything like that, starting at the end of a month. Okay, so now you can see, and it will be interesting if there is a difference in these if we had end of month, beginning. So very interesting that they needed now to say to you, because the previous one was at the beginning, where was at the beginning, they now need to nearly put it back to you to say, okay, now we're thinking about at the end of a month. But at the end of a month is normal. So it's not out of it's not something different that we're not used to, but nearly they assisting you in this one to say it is now being paid at the end of a month. Okay, at the end of a first, okay, just at the end of the first month. Interest, okay, no. So don't worry about that. It's just, so what all they're saying is the previous question we had begin, now we move back to end. Interest is fixed at 18% per annum, compounded monthly. That's how we normally will have it. The number of full payments of 8,000 that you would have made by the time the loan is paid off. Okay, so what we will probably get is something with a lot of decimals, and then you need to round it off to the number of full payments. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? We're doing it monthly, so it's 12 times per year. It's exactly like you would have had for your normal personal loan, home loan, or car loan that you pay monthly. You have a present value of minus 5,000. So your present value is minus 5,000. You would have a amount of 8,000 that you pay per month. So your PMT. You would have the 18% interest. Okay, and then what we will need to calculate is N. Okay, so let's do that 12 times per year. So we're just putting it back into the normal, how it would have been, minus 500,000 present value, 800 or 8,000 rand per month, 18% interest. And then if we press N, we get N is equal to 186.22. They ask us full payments, so we have 186 full payments. Okay, you will not get in the exam now suddenly a 187 as well. They will not, that now, if you maybe have rounded it up or something like that, or they would not, there will not be for this a number like that. So they just want you to get to the nearest number, which is 186. So they will not now give you a number that is one higher than this. That will not be the case. So they would not want to catch you out in that sense. Interesting. Let me just check if you didn't change your calculator to end. So if it stayed at the begin, if you would have gotten something different. So if it stayed at the begin and you did not change your calculator, the value then would have been 172, so 173. So luckily there isn't an option like that in this one. So I think just again that could have been something that one of the other options is rather 173. Then it might have caught you out. Also, if you didn't change it and then you might have said, okay, none of the above. We know that none of the above is not really used a lot, but in this instance, you could have gone through it 2 or 3 times with a begin and always get the same answer. So again, just remember that end basically say that you take away the begin of the previous question. Okay. Questions on this one?
No questions.
Okay, cool. The other thing that you also, I added future value to be 0. Just that you know that because the loan is paid off, so you know that there isn't a future value left, but that is just so that there doesn't sneak in something that maybe was there from the previous set of questions or anything like that. But it will definitely not change your answer. Okay, cool. Let's see the next one. Question 13. So you have started saving to replace your car when you retire in 20 years. Your first payment was 3,600 at the end of the first year, which you yearly increased by 360 Rand. If the expected interest rate per year is 10% compounded annually, the amount to the nearest Rand that you will be able to pay towards your new car in 20 years will be. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So your first payment is an amount, and then yearly payments increases. So here we're looking at annuities that that increase or increasing annuities. Do we have, will we be able to use a calculator for this?
Yes, we will.
Okay, so what will the functions be that we need to do? And let me also just write down, let me first write down the formula that is also important for this, so that if just write that better. Now, Stephanie, now you can see now suddenly I'm using I again and not for others. So again, yeah, I think probably there needs to be a bit more consistency between the formulas as well that are used, because now we also use N and not T. So I think probably across this the chapters also a bit of more that we need more consistency will also assist. Okay, so just if we want to use the formulas, this is what we would do. This component will look at that increasing part. So if you look at that, that will be your increasing part. This part will look at nearly your fixed amount, but also with a 10% increase annually. Okay, so Caroline, how would you have used your calculator for this, the functions?
You were 3,600 plus 360 divided by the 0.10 is
Okay,
equals
yes.
times plus minus 1 equals your payment.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yes, okay.
Then you do your 20 years.
Yes,
Your interest per year.
yes.
Then once you've done all that and you compute your future value, you then
Okay,
minus in brackets 360 times 20 over 0,110
yes.
and close the brackets, and that equals your
Okay, okay. So you basically, for this part, you're using the functions of a calculator. So let's quickly, because but I like what you know. I would, because I normally just do the calculations on the formula. So that part that I had there, you would have used as your PMT.
yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. And then the second part here is, so if I just writing it out, so that is what then the calculator would calculate with the going into the future function, because it will use this information for that. Okay, so that by using n and by using the interest, you get your basically your future value. And then you subtract the n, that is again 20 times the 360 divided by I. And then you will get your final amount. Okay, so you would, so let's quickly do that. See, I would have just done that. I'm learning something today, so thank you for that. I did not even think about doing that. That is okay, but this is strange. Are you getting that was 7,200?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. Interesting. But yeah, obviously because you're working with 360, so that's just a very 360 divided by 10 is also 360. So yeah, so I'm just that would have already, I would have thought I'm on the wrong track there. So if you put that as your PMT, then you would use your interest rate of 10. You would use 20N. Oh, and it is yearly, so it's not monthly. So that is at least okay. And then you said that is your future value. So your future value that you get before you do that, is it 412,379.99, basically 412,380 if you round it off.
I've made a mistake, so I've got to redo it.
Okay, so let's just quickly, I'm just writing it down. 360. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that future value would have given you 412,380. That portion here would have given you 72,000. So if you then subtract the two and look at this 41238, they already give that to you. So again, don't fall in the trap that that is your final answer. Minus 72,000 is then equal to 340,380, which is option 2. Okay. So thanks. There's something I learned today as well. So use that as PMT. You would then also your interest rate, use that as that 10% that is in that formula. You use N equal to 20. That would have been in that formula. You calculate the future value. Then just remember, so that future value that you've done is this part. Okay, so it's that part is the future value. So you still need to then subtract that part of the formula. So you still need to subtract that part, which is this. So if we do that, you will get your final answer of the 340380. Okay. A bit easier to use these three than to work out that, because there I can see I will be possible to make. Thanks, Stephanie. Good luck with the exams if we don't speak again. Oh, it's just 10 minutes left in any case. Okay, so that nearly gives you the idea of when you're looking at annuity increase. So we had basically looked at something that you start off with. So the begin, we had for one that you then go back into end, and then we now had for one that in between, or that you have an increase on your payments or on the annuity. So again, this is something that happens a lot. So you would, if you think about, if you put something away for the future, you probably will have increases in your monthly premiums every year. And that is basically what this is doing. So it's annuity that increase yearly. This one was just on a once a year kind of, and it's one payment per year, but it can also be that it is monthly or something like that. Okay, so let's go. We've got a few minutes left, so let's go into the last one for the day. So Margaret, owner of a beauty me spa, will discharge a debt that will be worth 870,000 8 years from now using the sinking fund method. Okay, so suddenly from annuity straight into sinking fund. So we've got 870,000. So we know, so I'm just writing a few things down first. So we know that will be your future value, because they tell us the debt that will be worth. So it will be 870,000 for your future value. Let's just see what else they compounded quarterly. The debt increase is 13.4% per year, compounded quarterly. The sinking fund will earn interest rate at 9.2% per year. Okay, so 9.2% interest per year. 8 years from now, so 8 years from now, then also what do we have? It's monthly. So just remember there's 12 times per year. And they ask us, the debt rate is that component. The sinking fund will earn interest compound monthly. A deposit in the sinking fund. Okay, so we're looking at the sinking fund, the deposit into the sinking fund. So we will just want to work out what is that PMT. Okay, by giving you a bit in here to also confuse you, but by just asking a monthly deposit into the sinking fund, so you've got your 12 times per year. You have that it is for 8 years, so it would be for 96 periods basically. Then you've got that it is 7.2%, 9.2%, sorry, because that's the interest fund of a sinking fund. So that's just important that is what we're looking at. 870,000 your future value. I'll just make it 0 present value. So I'm just to make sure that that works out. And then my PMT value is 6166.12. Okay, 6166.12. If you used 13.4%, let's just see. If you used 13.4%, your answer would have been option 1. Okay, so again, just be careful between what they're asking you. By asking you what is a monthly deposit in the sinking fund. So this part they actually added in, but you're not using. Okay, so just that you don't get confused, but too, so when they ask specifically for the sinking fund, that is the information that you use. Okay, so that is the sinking fund one. So let's call it a day. Yeah, the recording I'll definitely make available. Let me just